Yeah.
So you are welcome to share. I'm going to mute my mic and turn off my camera so that it's not a distraction to even me to see myself, even though I'm awesome. I am. And then Jason, I'll keep it on the chat room. And if you need us, just holler. We will still be here. But it's your show, ma'am. Take it away.
Cool. So welcome to everybody that's here. Some of you know me, some of you don't know me. Some of you were able to listen in on my last webinar. So I used to own an auto body shop down in Van Nuys, California. And then after I owned my shop, about 3-4 years in, the recession hit. So I ended up not being able to hang on to it, but I was blessed enough to be able to go and do social media, marketing, advertising, and sales, basically the manager of all those components for Valley Motor Center Auto Body down in Van Nuys. So here's some pictures of me during that time. I did a lot of networking, a lot of speaking events. This is only my second webinar that I've done with this many people, and I'm used to being with a live crowd, which is nice because when you crack a joke, you know if it's funny or not funny and what you're working with this kind of thing. You're just kind of hoping that people like what you have to say, because I can't really see you unless you've enabled your video, which I don't think a single one of you has. So I'm just going to kind of roll with it, but I'm used to being out and about and seeing people face to face, one-on-one. I've done a lot of networking events. I've done a lot of work with nonprofits on behalf of my shops. I've emceed galas and stuff, fun stuff like that. And then most recently, I started writing for Body Shop Business magazine. So I have body shop clients all over the country, which is really cool because I get to learn a lot about the different states and how things vary between the different shops, your different demographic, all that kind of stuff. And so now I'm blessed enough to be able to write for Body Shop Business magazine. And here's a picture of me in one of my articles. And actually a couple of things I'm going to talk about today were actually in this article, funny enough. So anyway, I'm wondering, because I'm so used to being able to talk with people and see you face to face, if some of you wouldn't mind turning on your video for a minute and just saying hi, just so I can see all of you. I know Kristen just turned hers off, but hi. I can see names, but I can't. Nobody's turning their video on. All right, fine. I can see your name.
A lot of us are still like,
what's up? There you are. Hi. Thank you guys. It's nice to be able to see people. So you don't have to keep them on, but thank you. It's nice to be able to see who's on the other side of this camera. So anyway, we'll kind of get into this a little bit, but I am going to have some questions. But first, we're going to be talking about surviving the certification craze. So right now, I feel like that's what everybody's talking about. You might have seen me post my video on LinkedIn or Facebook. I have a YouTube channel, and it's like certifications everywhere we go. That's what everybody's talking about, right? Certification, 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 certification. Are you certified? Are you certified? I'm certified. Are you certified? I'm certified. So I thought, you know, let's talk about it. First of all, are you even ready for certifications? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Do you know what it entails? Let's talk about that too. So few things before we start. We're going to do a little poll. This is something I've never done, but I saw Jason do it, so I wanted to steal his idea. It looked like a lot of fun. So Kristen has some questions, and I don't know exactly how this is going to work. So Kristen, if you can pop that first question up.
Launching the first poll.
Okay, so first poll. How many certifications does your body shop have? So if there's really no wrong or right answer, just to give me an idea kind of what we're working with here and what I need to focus on today, it would be helpful. So if you can click one of those and just click submit. Are you getting responses over there, Kristen?
Yep.
Okay.
Responses are starting
I can't see anything.
Yeah, responses are starting to come in.
Cool.
Yeah. I always give it like 40, 60 seconds somewhere in there and let people respond.
So this just kind of gives me an idea, like I said, of what more to focus on. I do have a presentation prepared, but I can obviously go off script and talk about some things if you guys feel the need or have questions or whatever.
All right. So it looks like, so let me tell you where we're at here, Micki.
Yeah, please.
27% of the audience has none.
Okay.
Half of the audience has 1 to 3.
Okay.
And then it's a pretty good split, like 15% and 15% for the people that have more than 4.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Good to know. I think a lot of shops don't have any certifications, and we think that everybody does, but you really don't, clearly. So, oh, that's cool. I love that we can see that.
Awesome.
Awesome. So let's go into the next question then.
Next question. Here we go.
Okay, so do you feel like you're getting a return from those certifications? So for those of you that have certifications, are you getting zero, a little financial return? You feel like you're breaking even the amount that you spent and you brought back in? Are you getting some revenue, or are you seeing a big financial return? This one should be pretty interesting. So go ahead and mark your answer if you don't mind. And I'm gonna write stuff down in my little notes over here.
Those answers are coming in really good. And then I'll do the share thing again. I think that probably show those results. All right. I'm going to end the poll, and then I'm going to share these results out.
Okay, so only 15% of you feel like you're getting a big financial return. This is not surprising. A little financial return, that is kind of what I would expect. Breaking even, 23, some revenue, 23, and no financial return, 8%. I actually think that that number is probably higher from what I hear, but it's interesting that we're all across the board. So that's awesome. Okay, so we are going to talk about that a little bit today, and more even next time. And the next poll.
Okay. Oh, there it goes. Oh, look at that typing error I had.
I don't see anything on my end. Is it up?
Yeah, it shows it's up. Let's try launching that again. It took it a while. So we'll go to question 3.
Do you want to learn more about how to get started with certification? So this is something I don't have as part of my PowerPoint, but if you guys are interested in talking about, because there are 27% of you, so a quarter of the people on this call right now currently don't have any. Do you want to learn a little bit about how to get started and what it entails? Because I can talk on that for a minute. So that's just yes or no.
All right. I'll share these.
Okay.
So it looks like 83%.
Oh, you want to know. You want the info. Okay, we can do it. All right, we should have a few more here. And there's only one that's a right and wrong answer, but you're going to find out what that is down the road. What's our next one, Kristen?
Do you feel like people are searching for certified body shops when they need repair?
Okay, I don't see that one showing yet. But the question is, do you feel like when somebody gets into an accident, are they searching for a certified shop? Are they Googling Audi certified body shop in Missouri or, wherever you're at? Do you think that that's happening? Is there a poll going to pop up?
It should be. I've relaunched it twice. Let's, of course, we were getting so close to having things cooperate with us.
If it's not going to work, we can move forward with this. This actually gives me a lot of great information.
Okay. Let me try one more time. We'll see if we can get it up there.
Okay. Here we go.
Hey.
So, yes or no? Do you feel like people are searching for certified shops when they need auto body repairs? Yes or no?
Oh. Look, I can see this and you can't, so I feel like I got to
find
like, information. Yeah. So the overwhelming majority, 71%, do not feel like people are searching for certified repair.
Okay.
So I got one more vote in there, so that changed the number a little bit. Let's see if I can share those results.
Okay. So 67% no, 33% yes. Okay, I had a couple more questions, but if we're having issues, we can just move forward.
Let's see if we can get this one. This will be our customer loyalty. I always love this one.
Customer loyalty. Yeah, this is a good one. So in your perspective, from your perception, how loyal are your customers? How loyal are your guests? Not very, somewhat, or very loyal?
I always love this discussion. I don't know about you, Micki, but I've always had a shop that tells me my customers are extremely loyal. And then about 5 minutes later, I hear them tell me a story about how the customer took their daughter's car to another shop to get repaired and it wasn't a good repair. And I go, wait, didn't you just tell me they were loyal?
Yeah. How loyal are they? When we're talking about loyal, what's
your
your
loyal
meaning?
and my loyal are two different loyals.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. You figure life is about perception. So a lot of the way that we run our business is how we're perceiving things. So sometimes it's nice to know what's really going on and what's not. So not loyal. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you guys think that at least they're somewhat or very. That's awesome. So 50-50. That's good. And we're going to talk about way to encourage that today.
All right. And your last poll, Micki, is about redos.
Yeah. So again, perception. So this is going to be interesting how you think you guys are doing with redos.
Is that one up?
Nope.
Okay. Shows it up on mine. We're going to go.
Okay. So are you tracking redos? This is a really important question. And let's be honest. I don't know who you are. I can't tell what you pick on here, but just be honest. Just let me know, are you tracking redos? Yes or no? I know a lot of shops don't. So if you're not, if this comes in at 0% no, y'all are lying.
I'm always fascinated at shops that are not tracking the redos. And discussions around the no's for that, because you can't improve what you're not. Are you consistently messing up the same things over and over? And
Mm-hmm. Well, a lot of times they just don't know how.
That's a good point.
They don't even really know where to begin. So we'll talk about that today.
Mm-hmm. Well, looky there.
I can't see it. What does it say?
Oh, there you go. You got it?
Nope.
Oh, well, it is 47% yes and 53% no.
Yeah. See? Thank you for being honest. That's awesome.
All right.
Okay. So because you guys definitely want to know how to get started with certification, let's talk a little bit about that. So I don't have that in my PowerPoint. So you're just going to have to look at me for a minute and not a PowerPoint. So let's see. Let me see if I can just not share my screen. Here we go. Let's stop sharing. Okay. So first and foremost, when it comes to getting certified, once you get down your basic equipment that these OEs are looking for, it's going to be a lot easier to start getting certified with other manufacturers. So I feel like your first certification, whatever it is always going to be your hardest. It's always going to be the most difficult and frustrating. Well, I shouldn't say always, because when you get to the higher tiered, the higher levels where you're dealing with aluminum and high-end vehicles, it does get it's a whole different ball game. But at least getting started, if you get your basic equipment going and you kind of get rolling, you're going to find that it's going to get easier real quick. So a lot of my shops will start out with Honda or Acura when they're getting certified. And that's mainly because the Honda Acura certification is one of the less expensive certifications. And it's pretty easy to get, probably a lot of the equipment you already have in your shop. So I'd recommend that you check that out for those shops that don't have any, or maybe even if you have a couple and you don't happen to have that one for some reason, check it out. Also there, as far as I know, they're not restricting parts yet. So it's not like a structural versus non-structural kind of thing. So I'd like to see you, if you can, and you're going to be getting certified, get in on some of these while you have the opportunity. And obviously certification is a process. When you first start, it's going to be with not smaller manufacturers, because Honda and Acura are not small, but some of these, not even lower end, but less costly, I guess would be the more specific term to use. So start there. Another one you can potentially start with is Subaru. That's a little bit less expensive to get started with. You're looking at around like 6,000, I would say, to get started, but that's assuming you have some equipment. So, you know, you can kind of, the cost for the whole thing, I won't get into all that. I feel like that's a whole nother webinar in itself, but Subaru, one great thing about Subaru, I've heard some of the certification managers, I don't think that's their title, but that's what I'm gonna call them. I've heard them speak recently, and they talk about how they're really pushing out to their dealerships and out to on the dealer websites and that kind of thing. They're really pushing out to partners for consumers to be using a certified shop, which is great. And we really, as shops, are going to need that and need that help as we're getting certified. So, so Subaru's great. It pushes out to the network. And then you also, one great thing about Subaru, as of right now, you don't need a dealership to sponsor you. So that's another kind of caveat with this whole certification thing that, you know, all my people on the call that have a lot of certifications, you know, some of them you have to have a dealership sponsor you, like, you know, BMW, Porsche, things like that. So with Subaru, you don't have to worry about that. Another place that you can start is to start with Assured Performance Network. You can get certified with them. The great thing about Assured Performance Network is they actually have a lot. Once you get certified with them, it certifies you for a list of manufacturers, including Kia, FCA, which is like Dodge, Chrysler, Mopar, SRT, things like that, Nissan, Infiniti, and Hyundai. And they used to have Ford, but Ford is now on its own. So if you kind of want to take it to the next level and just go through the certification process one time, it's not terribly expensive, and then you can get certified in a lot of things all at once. That's another thing you might want to check out. And if you need help contacting anybody, if you're having a hard time maybe talking to your dealers or whoever and not getting anywhere, you're doing some search, feel free to reach out to me. I have a lot of different connections, and potentially I can connect you with the right person. Maybe, maybe not, but at least I can try to help you. Another thing to think about, because I think a lot of shops are not getting certified because they just financially can't do it, or they don't necessarily feel like that's the right thing for them at the moment. What you can do is you can have your techs do specialized training, so that you can have like a Lexus trained technician. So then you can market that on your website and to the dealership that you have a Lexus trained technician or a GM trained technician. So that's another way to go around without having to spend the big chunk of money to have the shop certified. It's almost like a little mini certification just for that tech. The problem is if your tech leaves, then there goes that certified tech that you just paid to get certified. But, you know, that's kind of what's going to happen through this whole certification process anyway. Like I said, once you go to the next level, it's really differentiating yourself between having a clean room and being aluminum certified, or just being, you know, a traditional body shop and doing non-structural work. So that takes you to a whole nother level. So when you're looking to get certified, you might be wondering, you know, who do I reach out to? And sometimes, you know, my shops will do something as simple as just start Googling. And that's what I've did. I mean, if you have DRPs, if we've been in the body shop world for any length of time, you know, this is kind of similar to DRP, where you just got to figure it out. You got to find the person that you need to talk to. And sometimes that's calling somebody. Sometimes you just catch somebody right out of the gate. Other times you're Googling and you can talk to this person to talk to that person. The same kind of thing with certification, unfortunately. Sometimes it is just a hunt trying to find the right person to talk to. If it's a dealership sponsored certification, for example, BMW has now opened up certification. For example, if you were to go to them, first of all, you need to find if your body shop resides in what they call the PMA, their primary market area. So if you're in their primary market area, then you can ask them if they have a certified shop. If they do have a certified shop, then you know that you potentially may be out unless they can sponsor more than one. And if they're not, then you've got to find out which shop or which dealership in your area is going to be where you are in their PMA. If you feel like you're not getting any response when you go talk with the dealerships, or they're not giving you information, specifically BMW, there are some OEs that I have better relationships with than others, and I'm good buddies with a guy in BMW. And when I was talking with him, told him I was doing certifications, he said, let me know if any of your shops out there, any shops that you know want to become BMW certified. If the dealership's giving them any problem or not giving them the information, then I can always try to direct them to the right person. So you can reach out to me and then I can forward that on, again, if interested. For BMW, there's 19. Again, I call them certification managers. That's not their real title, but I'm going to say it is. So different OEs have a different amount of people that are handling this kind of thing. So for BMW, there's 19. So I hope that's helpful. I don't want to spend too much time on this because we do have a whole lot of other stuff to talk about, but I feel like this gives you some good information to be able to launch into getting some certifications and giving you some pathways to start. And do we have any questions maybe that anybody has in the chat? Let me look. I think I can pull up the chat here.
Nope, so far we're good.
We're good? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to share my screen and we'll go back to the presentation. And if any of you guys have questions as we're going along, feel free to put them in the chat, and then I'll break a couple times if you want to pop up with anything. And then at the end, if you have questions or you want to share, obviously I'd love to hear it. So, so anyway, we just did our poll, so we're good to go. So when we talk about certifications, the world is divided into two things. We've got Body Shop Land, which is on your left side. And that's where, if you're on this call, we all live in Body Shop Land. It's kind of like Candyland, but not so magical. And then on the right side, you've got the rest of the earth. So in Body Shop Land, we are always striving, in regard to certification, we're always striving to see what's next when it comes to certification. What's the next certification that's coming down the pipeline? What's the next certification I want to achieve? How am I going about it? That seems to be, like I was sharing with you before, it seems to be like what everybody's talking about. I've written a couple of articles on it. Everybody else is writing articles and talking about it. And it's pretty interesting because, what was that stat here? I think I wrote down. So, 67% of people on this call don't think that customers are searching for a certified shop. 33% say they are. Well, here's the closest descriptive photo I could find of what the actual public, for the most part, thinks about certification. Oh, there he is, Mr. Middle Finger. Who cares? And it's not because we have, let me back up. We live in a world where people have information at their fingertips. They can Google, they can search anything and everything at any time. So it's not because they're just moronic. They're just, they don't understand. Nobody's taught them the importance of it. So they're just going along and they think, you know, if you've got 5-star ratings on Yelp or Google, then you must be the best. I've got an Audi. No, I actually have a Jag. So I have a Jag. And if I am searching on Yelp, I'm like, oh, they have 5 stars. They must be a great shop. I'm going to go to them. The average person has no idea. You should probably take that Jaguar to a certified Jaguar facility. Now, it's not going to kill me if I don't. For those shops that have no certifications, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do to fix my vehicle if it were to get into an accident. But the rest of the world really has no idea a difference between certified and not certified. Now, because there are a lot of people on this call with 0 certifications and probably people watching the playback of this, I will tell you that this works to your benefit right now. Now in time, most people are not leaning on a shop that's certified or non-certified. They're looking to reviews. They're looking to Yelp reviews and they're looking to Google reviews. So if you are not certified and you've got great reviews, then right now you're in a really good place, because that's really where people think that you can find merit of a shop in reviews. So that being said, let's move on for a minute. So the next slide we've got talks about the stages of certification investment. And these are actual photos that I took of a couple of shop owners, and I think you'll enjoy them. So the first stage of certification is the manufacturer comes to you, or you go to the manufacturer and you think, oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to get certified in Porsche. And then they tell you how much it's going to cost. So then we have the first slide and it looks like this. What? Because how much money? You want me to do what? Then our next stage, which is typically realistically, the next step of this stage of certification is no way, ain't gonna happen. I like my money and I'm keeping it. Then we move on to the next stage of certification. And I'm sure that everybody watching this has probably felt at least these two. One or the other, are probably both, right? So then we move into the next. Okay, I'm gonna get certified. I've chosen to move forward with it, and well, bam. Oh my gosh, so much money flying out of my pocket. So it's not just the cost to get certified, it's the equipment, and oh, I have to train my techs. Okay, well, let me sign up and pay for those trainings. Oh wait, now I have to pay for them to travel, and now I have to pay for their accommodations, and oh, that tooling that I thought I had that was going to be good, well, I just had an audit and that's not good enough, so now I got to buy something else. So those of you with certifications that have gone through audits and things, you totally understand the bottom left photo. And then the goal is to end up in the fourth photo, which is, yay, I'm making millions because I spent money on those certifications. So let me see, what did we have here? I think that, I don't know where I wrote it. There was a mixed on return. That's what I wrote. Mixed on return. So a lot of you are not feeling like you're getting full return on those certifications, and understandably so. We are in new territory, and I think that's why everybody talks about certifications, because there is no like golden rule. We don't have anything to look back on. Like with DRPs, and when we were all so focused on DRPs and getting new DRPs, there was kind of like some groundwork that had been laid because people had done it before us. We could go talk with other people and it was like, oh, that's what you do? Okay, well, certification is new for pretty much all of us. So there's no rule book, there's no guidebook yet. So it's difficult to achieve that bottom right photo, even though that's obviously our goal. So I feel like reality is somewhere in the middle of all this. Right now, you can afford to be one of the top two photos. You can hold off on certification and you can hold on to your money and you can wait. But I will tell you, with the way that things are shifting, you will want to look into certification and start the process of planning on where to start. Maybe those things I talked with you about at the beginning of this will help you kind of get started on that. Here's my issue on you waiting too long, though. I have a couple. The dealerships can only, and again, not all certifications are dealership sponsored, but I think eventually they're going to go that route. Dealerships can only sponsor a certain amount of shops they can only sponsor a certain amount of shops. And then there's oftentimes kind of like a DRP, you can only have a certain number of shops in a certain radius. So let's say you want to become BMW, because we were talking about it earlier, you want to become BMW certified. Well, they can only sponsor 2 shops. And I don't know if that's the truth about BMW. I know Porsche, I think, is too. But let's say 2 shops. But Joe Schmo's Body Shop, 5 doors down, got BMW certified 6 months ago. So because of the radius issue, you're out of luck. So I would say if these are moves that you want to make, you can wait. In the current environment, you can wait, because as we know, Mr. Middlefinger's out there and couldn't care less and doesn't know any better. But eventually you're going to be forced to have to be certified, because then we're going to have parts restrictions. So that's another part of it. Now we're going to have structural versus non-structural shops, because some shops aren't going to be able to get parts. And then that kind of comes into a whole nother thing, because if you think about it with ADAS, I mean, look at everything we're going through with having to learn all this technology. Cars are just getting more and more complicated. And then we've got the electric vehicles. that's coming down the road where a lot of vehicles are going to be electric. So the OEs are really wanting their shops to be ready and able to repair their vehicles per OE specifications, understandably so. So how do you get from the left to the right? Well, good news. I'm going to do another one of these on April 15th. And it's going to be about how to market your OE cert. So if you have certifications, we are going to be talking. I'm not going to do it today because it's a separate thing and it needs its own separate space. And we're going to talk about ways to market those to try to get you from the guy on the left to the guy on the right. And so hopefully you can tune in for that. You can mark your calendars if interested, and I haven't bored you to death. So how do we handle the issue of Mr. Middlefinger not understanding certifications? So ultimately, this is something that I've felt since the beginning when certifications first rolled out is who's going to care about all of this? Well, obviously the dealerships are going to care, but I mean the general public, it's really going to be something that we have to educate as shops, our customers, and our partners. So that means not just our customers that are driving up to the door, but that means, you know, your agents, even your adjusters that are coming out to your shop. At the community, if you're involved in community events of any kind, you need to be letting people know that you're certified, but not just that you're certified, but why you're certified. So that's going to be an education level. So it's funny, when I was looking through photos trying to find a picture for educating your customers and partners, I found this guy. And it's so funny because at first I saw him and I was like, yes, this guy is a teacher. And then my second reaction was like, oh no. No, look at this guy. He's making it way too complicated. You take a look at him and you just want to go, no, turn it off. I'm done. Nope. I'm done with school. Been there, done that. So in the process of educating your customers, your guests, and your partners, you don't want to be like this guy. You want to be like this guy. So we're going to have to work as managers and owners and writers. We're going to have to work with our teams on how to properly educate people. And, you know, this guy is grassroots. Let me walk you through the process of the repair. Let me show you why it's important to be certified, why we're certified, why it's important for us to be certified, because we can get we're going to have the OE parts. We have access to how to specifically repair your vehicle properly. We have the technicians here that are specialized in your specific vehicle. Lucky for you, we can help you, all of that kind of stuff. So the next question is, or it's not a question, but next point is, just because you are certified does not mean that, one, you have an increase in work. Number two, that your quality is superior than to those shops that are around you. And three, that your processes and procedures, your SOPs, are as efficient as they should be. So I have shops that are certified and I have shops that aren't certified. And I will tell you, some of my shops that have no certifications run their shops like a spinning top. I mean, it's just, woo, it just glides. It's effortless. They've set up some great SOPs. They've got, you're putting out great quality. And then there are shops that get certified and they think it's going to march a bunch of business to their door, and it doesn't. So just because you go out and you spend this money and this time to get certified, it doesn't mean that now that makes you the best. And now it's a great ego boost. It's a great thing to have accomplished, but it doesn't mean that you are the best in these areas. And it's something that definitely you need to be working on. So why are you looking to bring in more work when you can be getting more profit on the work that you currently are getting? So let's think about that for a minute, back that out. So let's say you're not certified in anything and you've got work coming in and your sheets are only getting written half-ass and you're not capturing a lot of vehicles coming in, your capture ratio is low, there's all kinds of things that are going on and you're missing out on money. Okay, now you add in a certification and you market that certification properly. So now you start pushing in some additional work. Think about all the money, the additional money that you're losing. Now you have all this great work and that's wonderful. So your numbers are going to be going up, but think about what your profit could be if you dial some things in. Whether you do it now and you don't have certifications or just a couple, or you have a lot and you need to go back in and kind of reevaluate things to be able to get the most profit that you can, right? So it all starts with buy-in. Everything when it comes to running your shop well is going to come to buy-in. You and I both know it, and you need the whole team bought in. When you have ultimate buy-in, and this is one of the things that I talk about in that lean article and the photo that I showed you guys kind of when we first started, and it talks about lean process. It's one of the first things that has to do with running lean and the whole lean process that started way back a bazillion years ago. It is having buy-in from every single person on your team. And it needs to look like this. It needs to be flawless. Everybody's on the same page. If without buy-in, you can't achieve profit, you can't get to full capacity or full ability of your shop, right? So when I see a picture like this, I hope it evokes the same emotion from you guys. When you see a rowing team, I don't know if you've ever seen one in person. I haven't. I'm sure it's cool, but you see it on TV and their stroke it looks effortless. And it's flawless, and everybody is in perfect sync. And they've got the guy at the head of the boat and the back of the boat usually, and they're calling the whistle and everything, and they're just all in sync. It's a collaborative effort, and it's just amazing. And if you think about it, if we can get our shops to have full buy-in so that they are fully on board with what you're doing and what your goal is, then your shop can also be running like this, which takes all that money that you were losing out before, and it's capturing every little penny that you can get, which, hello, isn't that the goal here? So one way to get buy-in, which is I wish more shops did, I really don't know many that do it until I suggest it, and I really recommend you give it a whirl, is to have some of your guys that sit in the back, if you want to call it, come and be up front. Have your painter come and sit with the CSR and check people in. Remind them that there is a person that's dropping off this vehicle. There's a family that's going to be picking up this vehicle and getting in the car. If you have a smaller shop, this is easier to do because you can kind of schedule it to rotate it through. You can do it also for bigger shops. So obviously more people just makes it a little bit trickier. But the goal is to have everybody in the shop meet that guest face to face, make that connection. So it's not just I'm banging on this fender and yeah, I got to fix the quarter. I got to blend this. You know, this is a person. There's a reason behind this. I'm going to take responsibility for what I'm doing because I'm bought in and I have pride in my work, and there's a pride in this shop. Huge. This is a game changer. This alone is a game changer. You can have your techs with your delivery specialist. I would love a painter to come with whoever is delivering your car, whether you have a delivery specialist or your writer delivers the car, whatever. Have your painter, because I feel like we have a lot of issues, as we all know, things get bogged down in paint and things seem to go sideways there. Have that painter, have that tech, wherever things especially are kind of going sideways in your shop, have them go out with whoever's doing the delivery and do the walk around with that guest, with that customer. And when that customer finds something that you guys didn't catch, or maybe that they did, and obviously they're there as just a person, they're not like, hey, this is my painter, and then they find something wrong in the paint and everybody's like, just have them there that as a team member, let them feel that. Let that soak in. I deal with a lot of dealerships, and when I go to the dealership on behalf of my shop and I walk in and they're like, Micki, look at the way that this vehicle came back. Look at the roof rack is literally jiggling. Like, who put this on here? I want to go back to the shop and take whoever was in charge of that roof rack and be like, here, you come sit face to face with the service manager and explain to him why he just got chewed out by his customer because that roof rack was wiggly. So I think the way to solve a lot of this is to get some of those people out of the back that forget what we're actually doing and bring them to the front to be able to meet your customers, your guests face to face. Super, super important. So let's talk about where you're losing money. There are 3 things when I wrote the article, and I was trying to think, okay, where are 3 things that where I feel like my shops are losing money consistently across the board. Obviously, there's a lot more than just these 3. But I'm just going to say the name and then we'll go into it a little bit. So first and foremost are redos, which is why I want to talk with you guys, which is why I asked the question up front about redos. You don't know how many redos you're doing because you're not even tracking them. And even if you are tracking them, what are we doing with that information? Then we've got lack of loyalty. Hello, slide. There we go. Lack of loyalty. How loyal are your people? Do you even know? You may think that they're loyal, but are they? Then lastly, we've got the capture ratio. How many vehicles are we really capturing when they come into the drive? So let's get into it. Redos. I'm just going to click on my slide over here. So employees oftentimes are so concerned about cycle time. They just want to move that vehicle through the shop. We all fall victim to this. It's what we do. And we've been held, especially for DRPs and insurance companies, to this cycle time standard that I feel like, and you all know it, that we're rushing, which when we're rushing in anything, mistakes are going to happen. So we talked about this before. Part of solving that is having our staff meet our guests and shifting the perspective, letting them realize that there is a sense of responsibility there. So for those of you that are tracking or aren't tracking, I wish I could have asked the question, how are you guys tracking? But I'm going to give you some recommendations on how you can be tracking. You cannot track redos if you are reopening a closed RO. We know this, duh. But I have seen shops, entirely too many of my shops, reopen that ticket and put the work back in. So it's not a separate ticket. And you can understand why they would, because oftentimes the estimators or the managers, whoever's running things, they really, depending on how hands-on the owner is, they don't want the owner to know that they're redoing as much work as they're actually redoing. So they have found a way to go in and, well, the way around it is to go back in and reopen that RO. And if you are an owner or manager and you're reopening an RO because you're not tracking it, don't do that, because then you have no way to have anything to compare it to. So if you are an owner where you're not as involved, you need to make sure, and you need to be watching your staff a little bit to make sure that this is not happening, because it happens way more than you think it does. That's all I'm going to say. The next option is to get some feedback from your CSI reports, your emails, texts. You know, a lot of our insurance companies, they send out CSI reports so we can get information back on that. When it asks, you need to bring your vehicle back, ding, 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 redo, that kind of thing. Text, if somebody texts that they were unhappy with their repairs, redo. So that's another way. If you are a really small shop, old school way is to do it on paper. Again, I don't really care how you do it, but you just need to be doing it. You need to be tracked. If you take nothing else away from this today, because there's so many people that aren't tracking your redos, you really need to find a procedure to put into place that works for you and your shop, so you can start looking that over. Every time you're redoing a vehicle, you are losing money. And after you've, you know, and sometimes you just, for some reason, you got that car and you got to redo that paint, or it goes through, you know, that tech just can't quite get it right, or it just doesn't get buffed properly or whatever. And for some reason, just something keeps going wrong with this car and it gets redone like 4 times or whatever. You need to be able to watch those metrics to know, are you actually paying to have somebody bring that car to you? Because that's not okay in my book. If that's my shop, I'm hot. No, we are not doing this. And then you're paying not only your employees for them to fix it, but you're basically now paying to have that car just cycling through your shop because you can't kick it out, and it should be done the first time. And now you're wasting space because you're having to redo this one vehicle when you got other cars coming in that need to be fixed. So now talk about cycle time. Boom, 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 boom. So you already know all this. I'm preaching to the choir. Next, you can open a warranty ticket. So at Valley Motor Center, this is what we did. We would, any vehicle that needed to come back, we would just open it as a warranty because it clearly is warranty. We have failed you. Let us fix it. So you can open a warranty ticket and track it that way. It's interesting because once you start tracking things, you also realize not only how much money is going out, but you're going to find which departments are oftentimes really dropping the ball, which you may think you have an idea of, but when you start tracking it, you're going to be like, wait a second, we need time for a meeting. And it's not going to be a fun one. Then CCC also offers a few ways to track through their management system. And some of you guys may be using this. I actually talked with one of the CCC reps to get all the different ways that they offer, because I know their system's pretty robust. So you can use their warranty reports in the system combined with the CSI data and trends. You can look at the internal job cost report, and that's under the warranty section when you're in CCC. And then lastly, there's something called the CCC checklist reports. This is much more labor intensive, but for shops that want to deploy it, I can see it really being a really great use. I don't have any shops that use the CCC checklist reports. From what he was saying, it sounded like it was something a little bit newer. So I'd be interested to get some feedback. If at the end of this, somebody wants to share what your feedback has been if you've used it. But you basically set up an electronic checklist for all your repairs. And then the team works through it all to make sure that every little box is checked. I'm saying box. Maybe there is no box. I don't know. I haven't used it. So I'm interested to hear what your feedback is on that. But just know that there are, I mean, look at this whole list of things. There are options for you to be able to be tracking these things. So our customer experience. So we've got everything from happy, it was wonderful, and then we've got not so happy. And we think when someone leaves our shop, how they feel. We think we know. Were they happy? Were they not happy? And that's why we think we have a perception of our loyalty. I mean, loyalty is coming back again. Loyalty is not just, I was happy. Those are two different things. But we think the customer experience is something that we can gauge by what we are seeing from our guests when they're right in front of us or when we're on the phone with them. I have some interesting information for you on that. So 72% of customers will share a positive experience with 6 or more people. So that's a lot. If you go out to dinner and you have a great experience, you had a wonderful waiter and the food was delicious, and then somebody goes, oh, hey, yeah, we were going to go out to eat. Oh, I know where you should go. There's one person. And then somebody else says, okay, there's another person. Same thing in the body shop world. Oh, I had a great experience over at ABC's Body Shop. You should definitely check them out. So 6 or more people, 72% will share with 6 or more people. That's awesome. What's not awesome is if they are unhappy, less percent, so 13% will share their experience. But here's the kicker. They're going to share it with 15 or more people. Typically, when people have a bad experience, they want to shout it from the rooftops. They want everybody to know how much you suck. And they want everybody else to feel the same way that they feel because they're so pissed. That's not a good thing. So this is why we want to capture those unhappy people and get them turned around as quickly as possible, obviously. Hey, we don't want to have unhappy people. We want to do the job right. But look at how loud and far their voice will go. Not good. I'd like for you to pay attention to this graphic. It's really powerful. Only 1 in 26 unhappy customers actually will complain in person. So when they come to pick up their vehicle, if they were really unhappy, let's say the estimator their writer gave them a delivery date and it kept getting pushed back and they were really annoyed by it. And they told that writer, they were annoyed with that writer, but they kind of let it go. They may pick up their vehicle and leave, but they're truly not happy. They may have a smile on their face because they're glad to be back in their vehicle. They sign their paperwork and they leave, but they're not happy. And you don't know about it. This is a huge number. 1 in 26 are actually complaining and letting you know that they're unhappy right when they leave. Mind blowing, right? So what can we do? What can we do to lessen this number? What can we do to change this? And the easiest answer is to send a follow-up email. So oftentimes we are sending follow-up emails and texts, like I said, depending on your insurance company, if you're using Update Plus, that kind of thing, you have things going out to kind of gauge the level of satisfaction with your guests. I personally have a platform that my shops use that emails, or we can text, but typically I recommend you send an email just so it's not intrusive on their phone, just to follow up with them and how was their experience. And even then, with all of these things, you're not going to capture all of the people that were upset. Some people are just pissed and they want to be left alone and they just want to go their own way. But if you can turn them around, obviously that's the goal. So there's something that can be done for those people. So we get into lack of loyalty with all of this. So a really great quote that I love is, customer satisfaction is worthless. Customer loyalty is priceless. So I feel like in the world of Yelp and Google, there's this level of satisfaction you want to reach just so they don't give you a bad Yelp, right? Have you felt it? You know what I'm talking about? So there's customer satisfaction. Great. You made somebody happy. You fixed their car for them. You got it back in a decent amount of time. All right, they're good to go. Bye-bye. If they get into an accident again, they may or may not use you because you really didn't move. You didn't move them emotionally. You didn't give them something different to create that loyalty. You didn't connect with them, whatever. Customer loyalty is priceless. So for my shops that think that their loyalty is pretty good or great, that's awesome, because the loyal customers, the loyal guests are the ones that are going to keep coming back, and they're going to be the referrers, right? So loyalty is number one. And we think our guests are loyal, but even like Kristen and I were talking about before this started, for those of you that were on the call a little early, you think they're loyal until a challenge arises, and then you really find out how loyal they are. Oh, well, my cousin Joe had a shop, so I went over to him and he said that it was going to be X amount of dollars and it was way less. So I just went over there, but then it really sucked. So now I'm back to you again. Look how loyal I am. No, not being loyal. So how do we work on loyalty? So this takes us back to customer experience, which is called CX. And the Temkin group that I'm quoting here, Temkin group specializes in customer experience. And they do all kinds of, they create all kinds of statistics, and they do polls and all that kind of stuff to talk about the power of customer experience. So the Temkin group says investing in customer experience initiatives has the potential to double your revenue within 36 months. In 3 years, if you're focusing and you're investing on your customer experience initiatives, you could potentially double your revenue. So this is big. So certifications or no certifications, how loyal are your guests? So let's talk a little bit more about that. A good customer experience means that your customers will oftentimes spend more. They've experienced something great with you. They're comfortable with you. They're willing to spend more money because they trust you. 86% of buyers are willing to pay more for a great customer experience. So even and this is for, I don't just work with body shops. I own a body shop. This is like my niche because this is my world and I live in it so much, but I also work with other businesses because marketing is marketing. So lucky for me, I get to work with all different kinds of businesses. And I will tell you that this is across the board the way it works. People will pay more if they're going to get a great customer experience, if you are dialing it in for them. So this is great because a lot of us feel like, oh, our rates have to be lower than so-and-so's or lower than so-and-so's. Well, they don't. If you're providing something at another level, at a higher level, then you are able to charge more, and they will pay it without question because they understand that there's value. Value is something different than price, right? So this helps to create that loyalty. Customer experience influences on-the-spot purchasing. So for those people coming in to get an estimate, well, I'm going to go get some estimates. Okay, if you are creating a customer experience, 49% of those buyers are going to make an impulse purchase after receiving a more personalized experience. So let's just round it. So when we're talking about bringing people into the shop, almost 50% of people coming in to get an estimate, I'm just going to body shop this. We're going to put the body shop spin on it. 50% of people coming to get an estimate are more likely to convert and drop those keys with you if you give them a personalized experience. How does that translate to you? How can you personalize it for them? The Walker study. This is a good one. This is powerful. By the end of 2020, customer experience will overtake price and product as the key brand differentiator. So in the past, everybody's looking for the lowest price. I'm going to go shop it around and I'm going to find the lowest price, and that's what I'm going to go with. And it doesn't matter in what industry. By the end of 2020, they're saying that customer experience is going to actually be what makes people make the choice to choose you over somebody else. It's not going to be price. It's going to be that personalized experience. Another powerful thing. Loyalty is earned with friendliness, responsiveness, ease of doing business, fair value, and you're not ripping people off, and the good feeling customers get when they call you, visit you, or interact with you. I found this quote and it really summed up exactly how I feel about loyalty and what we should be doing as business owners and managers for our shops. There's so much in this. I could pick this thing apart, but and just point out so many little great gems in this thing. But truly, it's about how you are making that guest feel that's creating that loyalty. They don't want to feel like they're being ripped off. So there's that. They want to make sure that you're being friendly, but it's really how you are making them feel. So if a vehicle, this is another thing I see a lot, if a vehicle is not being completed as expected, if it continues to be delayed, that delivery date keeps getting pushed back, things keep happening, and customers, guests are not feeling like you care, this is a problem. They're not getting the feeling from you that they are valued. They're not getting that personal experience like we just talked about. Big, big problem I see across the board. Oh, I'm so sorry. I have to tell you, the parts didn't come in, or, oh, your painter just screwed that up. Okay, just tell them the parts didn't come in. You know what I'm talking about. Those parts didn't come in again, and we're gonna have to push your car back. The delivery looks like it's gonna be next Tuesday. I know I told you this Tuesday, but it's gonna be another week. And no, we are not creating loyalty. We are not creating value. We're not creating that connection. And then our this is a big problem. Our CSRs and writers are unable to field questions appropriately. So I don't know if you do this. I do this for my clients. I will call the shop as just, Annie Homemaker here, and I just want to make an appointment to bring in my vehicle. And I do like a dummy call where I call and I ask questions and I talk with them as if I were just a regular old customer. You would be shocked at what your writers and your CSRs say on the phone and how they deal with things. So the big problem is they are representing your business when they're answering that phone and when they're answering questions, when a customer's calling. You really need to be listening to them, because are they making it personal for that person that's calling? Are they connecting with that person? Are they remaining professional? So I'll give you an example. When I called, it was probably about a month ago, because I mentioned it in the article, so maybe a little bit longer. I called a shop, and the female that answered the phone was really sweet. Hi, thank you for calling. And everything was, okay, well, do you know if you're certified in Jaguar repair? Oh, no, I knew some background on this female. She had actually been there for about 3 months, and it seemed like she'd been there about 3 days. So when she was taking information and she was looking things up, it was, oh, okay. And I could hear, and I'd ask a question, and she'd just click, 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 click on her keyboard, and I'm getting no answer. And rather than, okay, well, those are some really great questions, let me write those down, I just started, so let me get some answers for you, or something along those lines. Or if you can hold on just a moment, let me finish what I'm doing, and I'll be right back, and I'll answer those questions. Put me on hold, and then be like, I don't know, this person's asking me all these questions. Get the answer. Okay, so thank you for holding, and now proceed forward. This is easy. This is easy. This is something you can fix easily for your CSRs and your writers, on just etiquette, on talking with people before they come in. For some reason, they just really struggle on that phone call. So give them a word track, help them out. In the article, if you read my article on, I think it's Surviving the Body Shop, or Surviving the Certification Craze, I did write in some little mock things that they can say. So if you want to check that out, if you want some ideas on what you can give them on how they can phrase things, I believe it's in there. If not, reach out to me and I can shoot you a few. And then your writers making your customers and your guests feel processed. This is a big complaint that I see a lot, that is the antithesis of loyalty. Okay, thanks. Let me just get your information. And typically, by nature, our writers are very analytical, and that's what makes them really good at what they do. That's just the type of people that typically flock to this type of work. And it's great, but if we can get them to slow down, soften up a little bit, let's not process them through, we can then create back again to that loyalty. So then we go into the capture ratio. How many vehicles are you capturing? So again, certified or not certified, if a car drives in for an estimate, are you capturing them or are you not capturing them? Are your writers giving estimates, or are they just selling repairs? Two totally different things. We've got order takers, and then we've got people that are selling repairs to get them to leave the vehicle. So basically we've got reactive. Yeah, okay, here's your estimate. Off you go. And then we've got proactive. We don't even need to do an estimate. You can just leave it today, and now you go down that whole thing. So let's talk about some ways that we can work on our capture ratio. So first and foremost, if you think you're capturing most of your vehicles, are you capturing 70 to 75% of cars in your drive? Because if you're not, this is something that needs to get dialed in. And then again, we talk about, are your writers order takers, or are they just giving estimates? Unfortunately for them, they are salesmen. They don't think of themselves as such, but they are. And if they're not, they need to start embracing some of that. And you can help them by talking with them a little bit about, and again, back to the word track thing, and I think it was in that article. Encourage your writers to, when a customer comes in for an estimate, encourage them to get the customer to leave the keys. Why don't you leave the keys now? Especially in a DRP situation, there's no reason why they shouldn't just be leaving those keys, right? So give them some word tracks, help them out. Same thing for your CSRs. When people are calling, are they coming in for an estimate, or are they making an appointment to drop off? Two different things. They should be pushing for those drop-offs, right? Have your guests make appointments. This is one thing that I see. A lot of people come in, they come in for their estimate, and they don't quite know if they really want to leave it. Should they go get another price somewhere else? They're not quite sure. You maybe haven't given the best customer experience, because half of those people would commit right then and there. whatever the case may be, they've always kind of got this thing in the back pocket. Oh, I got to go pick up my daughter from piano, or I have to go get to work, or whatever. There's always like an excuse, right, why they can't leave it right now. If you can have your guests make appointments before they come in, they have now blocked off at least 15, 20 minutes, half hour to go bring their vehicle in for an estimate. So when you try to convert that estimate and capture them wanting to bail and saying they have to go do something, you can kind of eliminate and take that away, because you can share with them, you know, this won't take any time at all. You can sign here and and off you go. And you can easily convert them. And that puts them in a different frame of mind to know they really don't have anywhere else they have to go. And it is okay to be dropping right now, especially if you've built value and you created that personal experience for them. So the appointments tool, being able to make appointments for your guests really helps in a lot of different ways. A lot of shops, it helps them to function better because it helps you to stay more on track rather than just fielding people as they're coming in left and right. Again, depends on the size of your shop. But if nothing else, for this type of thing, to make an appointment for your estimates, oftentimes shops think, well, if I make an appointment then they just won't come. That's not true. They will show up, and you will not lose as many people as you think you will. So anyway, wrapping it up, back to our who cares middle finger dude. Who cares? We care. We've got to let our shops know, or our customers know, that we care. And this is a big deal. And we do understand everything they're going through. And we need to be educating them because they care. And it really, when you start implementing some of these things, you'll really see a shift in your shop in general. So when you get those certifications and you start marketing those certifications, now you're really making the most of having that increase of work in your shop. So right now, again, I think I'm pretty much done here. This is me, Micki Woods Marketing. We can open it up to questions. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram. I have a YouTube channel. Email me, call me. Does anybody have questions, or has anybody used that CCC thing I was talking about?
So far, if you have some questions, feel free to unmute your mic and ask anything you might want to ask. One of the comments in the group, Micki, from Dean, is when you were talking about the importance of your customer, your Google reviews.
Yeah.
And how important those are. And Dean made the comment, if you got great Google reviews and the OE certifications, you're sitting on top of the world. So that was definitely a good grab. Dean is sitting on top of the world over there in Jersey. Could Jersey be the top of the world, or is that more like Vermont? I don't know.
I'm terrible with geography.
Yeah. If anyone's got any questions, you did a good job going through all that.
Thanks. I feel like it was a lot of information, but super important.
Yeah. So again, you've got Micki's contact information there that she shared. So if you have any specific questions, please get in touch with her. I can't tell you how important tracking your redos are. We mentioned that earlier. I'm always constantly surprised at the shops that don't track those. We visited a shop once that wasn't tracking them, and I was like, well, do you have any redos? And they said no. I said, oh, I've never met a shop that doesn't, so I'm pretty impressed. And I get to the back where the technicians are, and I go, do y'all have redos? He goes, yeah, about 5 a week. And I went, okay. And I'm like, is it just minor stuff, paint? He goes, well, we've had 2 towed in a record because we forgot to put coolant in the radiators and blew motors. And I went, that's trackable. I would like to know that. Yeah. So sometimes it's big things, sometimes it's little things, but it's definitely something to figure out what you're missing. And I think one of the most important things there is an overwhelming majority of customers don't come back. They just complain. And then they drive around and go, I'm not happy with my paint job or whatever. So when you do get the redos, times that by like 5, and that's probably your real number. You just weren't aware of it. Yeah.
For real. Well, and your redos, you can take them as an opportunity to turn those people around. If they're willing to, if it's not something they just spotted right away, they took it home. If they've gone home and then they call you and, I'm not really happy, this or that, or the floor mats were dirty or whatever, take the opportunity to turn them. If they've complained, they're not gone yet. Mm-hmm. You can still turn them around and you can still make it right. Yeah. And I think a lot of people forget that.
Yeah. Make them a raving fan.
Yeah.
Beat up your painter later. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, Micki's back. Micki, you mentioned, when are you back with us again? I made Jason memorize the schedule. Jason, when is Micki back?
Micki is back the 15th, marketing your OE certifications.
Awesome. So part two to this.
Next Wednesday morning, that would be.
Yeah.
All right. So part two of this presentation. All right. So it'll be available for replay this afternoon. So it'll be there for everyone. And then coming up tomorrow, another packed day. We're going to kick it off at noon. Everybody gets to sleep a little late on a Friday if they want to. And our friends with RSG, Dennis Beardsley will be back, and joined by Doug Craig from Lord Fuser. We'll be talking about cavity wax, my absolute favorite product now to scream about. 1 can per week per technician is the minimum. And then tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, our friends from SADA will be in here talking about a regular care and maintenance program for your paint guns. For some of us production painters, this lull may give us a time to really truly do the cleaning and care of our guns. And SADA's got some great service kits and some things, and they're going to talk about that. So a big day tomorrow. So thanks, Micki, for joining us. And we will see everyone again tomorrow, noon Central Time. Thanks.
Bye.